You're right. I did not realize I was muted. Thank you, Melanie. I did not realize it. I forgot to turn the mic on. So, welcome back, everybody. Hope you're all having a good day. Uh, I've done I've done voted, so my civic duty has been done, and now I just can't wait till it's over with, and we get on with our lives with whoever is elected. We may not like the person, we may not like the outcome, but we have to accept it. So let's get off that subject now, and we'll move on. So I hope everybody's having a good weekend. I know it's Sunday there in the Philippines. Now, for those of you that are here in the United States and Canada, and maybe some of the other parts, my time for the Philippines will not change. We change our clocks tonight. We move our clocks back an hour. So next week here in the States on the East Coast, I'll be starting at 7 instead of 8, but that'll still be 8 o'clock in the Philippines, 8 o'clock Sunday morning. So it will not affect my Filipino audience. But those that live in the States, it will affect it. I'll be starting an hour earlier for us. It'll be the same time. I can't wait till they decide what time they want to go with. I hate this changing the clocks every twice a year. You spring forward in the how you remember it in the spring, you spring forward in the autumn or fall, you fall back. So for about 6 months out of the year, I'm 12 hours behind the Philippines, and for the other 6, I'm 13. I would prefer now for me, I would prefer the 12 hours. I know for Jerry, he'd prefer the 13 because it gives him more sunlight in the morning, which I don't blame him. He's a morning person. But like I said, I don't care. I just want them to make up their mind and let's pick a time and stay with it. When I lived in Indiana, now they've since started changing their clocks, but when I lived back in Indiana, we didn't change our clocks. I loved it. Now, 6 months out of the year, I was on Eastern time, and 6 months out of the year, I was on Central, which means uh, when I was on Central, we were the same time as our neighbor to the west of us, which was Illinois. When we were on Eastern, we were the same time as our neighbors to the east of us, which was Ohio. Hey, Dan, how you doing, man? Come on up. But so, like I said, I mean, I prefer that they just pick a time and stay with it. Now, when I was in Indiana, I actually liked the Central Time. Uh, the main reason for that was during football season. Instead of starting football game starting at 1, they'd start at noon. I had to be at work by 4, so I got to watch all, if not most, if not all of the game that I wanted to watch my Indianapolis Colts play if they were playing the early game. So I like that. And that's the reason why I like Central. I mean, I'll be honest with you. That's the only reason I liked Central when I was back here. Uh, and here, like I said, I don't care. Let's pick a time and stay with it. And that's all I want. I mean, let's just, like I said, I can live with it being 12 or 13 hours difference between here and the Philippines. It just makes it easy if you know all year round that you're going to be that much time difference. And, but like tonight, like I said, in the morning they do it 2 o'clock at night. In the morning, 2 a.m. they'll switch the clocks. So what you do is if your clocks can't do it on their own, certain clocks can't. The smartphones and the computers and stuff like that, they'll switch themselves. But if like my alarm clocks won't do that, I'll have to do that myself. That would be fine with me, Mike. I mean, as long as they pick a time and stay with it, I would rather have a full hour. But even if you split it in half and want to change it by a half hour one way or the other, uh, that would be fine as long as we stay with it. Like I said, I would prefer the full hour. Uh, like I said, let's either be 13 or 12 hours behind the Philippines. Myself personally, like I said, I would prefer the 12 hours, but I'll go with the 13 if that's what they want to do, as long as they do it and it's that way the whole year round. This changing the clocks twice a year is, oh, they said, well, you get more sleep. Yeah, I get more sleep this time, but when we switch it back, I'll get less sleep. And it's only for one day. I get more sleep one day. That's it. And it's a lot harder. If you ask me, it's a lot harder to adjust when you get less sleep, because once you adjust to getting up earlier compared to what it would be, hour later compared to what it would be, then you have to start getting up earlier. That makes it tougher to adjust. I find it, especially as I'm older now. When I was younger, it wasn't that hard to do, because in California, when I was in the Navy, we switched our clocks twice a year there. And I got adjusted to it, but I was a lot younger. But yeah, it could be a pain. So, and I know it was a pain to my parents because they didn't switch their clocks, and I'd forget we were all, hey, Dan's coming up. Let me get him up. Give me a second, Dan. There we go. How you doing, Dan?
Hey, good morning. Good morning. What's going on with you?
Not much, man. I'm just sitting here bulling myself. Like I said, I've got my voting done. So my civic duty is done, and I'm done with politics now until after, till next time. Hopefully, I won't be here next time.
Yeah, it was a really tough decision for me not to vote. But when it came down to it, the law prevailed in the state of California, and federal law. As far as federal election, I could participate in, and I opted out because I've only spent 1 month in the USA in the last 2 years, and I don't think I have standing. And so we're gonna let this 4 years pass us by.
Well, like I said, once I go, I may do the same thing. I don't know, but see, I was raised by my father. He always, if somebody started complaining about the politics or the policies and stuff, he'd ask them. The first thing he'd ask them is, "Are you legally eligible to vote?" And if they said yes, then if they said yes, he'd ask them if they voted, and if they didn't vote, he said, "I don't want to hear it. You gave up the right to complain when you gave up the right to vote."
Right. That's right. Well,
that's why
I don't think you ever, as a U.S. citizen, thank God, you never really give up the right to complain about anything, even though you're not.
Well, you gave up the right to complain to my dad.
Yeah,
you gave up the right.
I do understand it, because I believe my dad used to tell me exactly the same thing. So,
hey Tim, hey Jalen, welcome.
Hi guys.
But
so anyway, it was a tough decision for me to make, but in the end, I just said that. Well, wait a minute, you fled the United States. I didn't exactly flee, but
I'm gonna
in
be
search
honest
of a better life,
Well, when I was in the Navy, I had the right to vote in Indiana elections.
Right.
All right, because I was in the Navy. I wouldn't do it because I didn't know the politics. I figured that so I may think the same way when I'm in the Philippines.
You never know.
Like I said, when I was in the Navy, I gave up the right to vote in Indiana's elections because I didn't feel I was qualified to vote, because I didn't know because I'm an independent. I voted Democrat many times, but when you don't.
By the way, if you are spending a significant amount of time there, like say you have a lot of expats that are moving back and forth, they spend 6 months in the Philippines and they spend 6 months in their state.
Vote then. I would vote.
Then you vote. You vote. There you go.
There's no question I would vote if I was doing that, but I don't have the money to do that. I'm not like I said, I'm going to be on the lower end of Social Security. I'm not going to be at the low end, but I'm going to be on the lower end. I'm going to be just about what they call average. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Which, there's a bunch of them lower than me, and then there's a bunch of them higher than me. I'm going to be just about average, maybe slightly below, but I'm going to be right around average. And the average, and that's my only income once I quit working. And the average income for Social Security, as you all know, is not enough to travel back and forth for 6 months each year. to live here and live there, because you're not going to be able to maintain two residencies. You just won't be able to do it. So unless you already own your own house, and even then it would be tough to maintain two. So that's not going to happen. I'm going to go, and if I can make it, I'm going to stay. And I'll go home maybe once in a while to visit family, but it won't be for 6 months out of the year. It probably won't even be every year. And then maybe I'll never go back. I mean, I just don't know. That's something I'll have to decide once I get over there. But
and a lot of people they don't factor in the travel back and forth into their monthly budgets.
well,
So if it's a little bit easier to do if you're just one person, but when you're a couple, we got to set aside about $400 a month for.
I would have to set aside about $200
a year,
or maybe a little more. Because your room and board is going to be about the same if you're married or single. So I'd probably have to say about 250 to maybe 300. And I with my income, unless they cut it, I'll be able to do that. But I don't want to. But then that would mean that's what all my savings would go towards. Because let's be honest about it, you want to save. I'm going to have so much saved. My goal is to have enough saved that I can go 6 months to a year without getting a check if I have to, and live off my savings. Now that doesn't mean I'll make it, because I may not be able to take working that long. I may get like I'm out of here. I'm done. I got enough to get over there, set myself up, and go a month or two. I just don't know. But like I said, my plan right now is try to save enough that I can go 6 months to a year without getting a check, and be able to dip into my savings and live if I have to. Hopefully that won't be necessary. Hopefully that'll be for emergencies, and if God forbid I have to go back home for some reason, I'll have the money. But I may get too impatient. It depends on when my mother passes away, because like I said, I'm not going anywhere. If I have that money by the time she passes, then all's golden. But if she passes earlier, before I have that money, I may say, I can't take it anymore. I'm done working. I got enough that I can go over there, set myself up, have a couple months pushing, and that's it. And then beat feet boogie, just get rid of all my stuff and go. Because I own some decent furniture. It's not great furniture, but it's good furniture. Still in good shape, and I'll get a hold of one of these auction places and see what they'll give me for it. And whatever they give me, take it. Whatever I'll do the same thing with my car. It's gone. Whatever I can get out of it, give that money to me. Hopefully between the two things, I'll have enough for my plane ticket, over there, and a throwaway ticket, which is like maybe to Singapore. Or I'm not going to buy one of these tickets that you actually buy from a throwaway. I'll buy a cheap move on ticket like to Singapore or Vietnam, like a $40 ticket or something like that, and just throw it away, but because you have to have that, after 29 days, you're supposed to have an onward ticket. So I'll get a cheap onward ticket to one of the other countries close by.
Our problem, I'll tell you what, on our way back, no one ever asked me for that. And I think that they're getting so sophisticated with the computer system that they have notes in there. I saw them looking at notes and reading notes, and they never asked for any onward ticket. Basically, they just the questioning came into when we came into immigration. They like to, for some reason, when you come through customs, sometimes you'll get an officer that just is very thorough. And this immigration officer, upon re-entry to the Philippines, was very thorough. And sometimes you don't. So I don't know what goes on. They could see inside the passport the triangular entry stamp from Balikbayan, and that should signal them clearly enough that we're a married couple. But she went through the whole process, asking a whole bunch of questions, and especially about why our names aren't the same and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And she could clearly see the Balikbayan stickers, and I know there are notes inside there that say that verification's already been given that we are a married couple. So, I hope that one day they improve that system and they allow us to do like the TSA here in the United States does, where they allow you to do the express, the express thing. You get a card, you submit all your documents, and boom, you're good to go. So
I haven't taken a plane ride, and I don't even. I'm embarrassed to say how long it's been. It's been years since I've taken a plane. I usually drive,
what a treat you're in for. What a treat you're in for.
Well, the last time I'll tell you, the last time I flew was coming back from China. All right, back in 1999. That's how long it's been. 25 years. I went to China for 3 weeks back in '99, back in August of '99, along with some friends. There was a group of us who went over, and that was the last time I flew over. That was about a 16-hour flight. We flew out of give me a moment. Detroit. Was it Detroit? Yeah, we flew out of Detroit and I flew back into Detroit. We flew into Beijing and then back into Detroit. From Detroit to Erie, Pennsylvania, which is where everybody else lived. I didn't live in Erie, but everybody else that we went with lived in Erie. And then I drove from Erie back to where I lived. And like I said, it spent 21 days. I had 23 days vacation. And I spent 21 days in the Philippines. And then I had a day after I got back to reacclimate myself, which, takes longer than that. And I hadn't got my seat.
The jet lag, Larry, it's killing me. I got a cold. It's a severe enough cold that all I want to do is sit here in the easy chair, watch you on TV. I mean, it's pretty severe.
Yeah. Well, with me, the jet lag was when I came back. I had no jet lag going over me. Okay. When I went to China, I did not suffer from jet lag at all when I got there. But when I came back, and like I said, I have a severe case of sleep apnea, and I hadn't got my machine yet. And so I'll tell you, if I hadn't got that machine, I would have eventually died from it because I was falling asleep drinking the coffee, setting it down on the table. I'd fall asleep because of the jet lag, and I couldn't recoup because, I spilled hot coffee on my lap more than once because I didn't get it all the way on the table before I fell asleep and spilled it. And I did that at work. When I was driving, I was more alert because my mind was more active. I started listening to talk radio back then because it kept my mind active. Because if I relaxed to music, I'd go to sleep. It's like when I sat down at home, when I got back home, if I sat down to watch TV, I'd be asleep. I'd fall asleep in the chair. And it took me forever. And once I got the machine, because we got back, like I said, it was in September when we got late August, early September. I don't remember the exact date. And I didn't start recuperating until January or later. That's when I got the machine finally. And I finally started getting more rest and finally started getting the rest I needed to recoup. But like I said, if it had kept going, I would have probably fell asleep driving and had a crash. Hey, Derek. And we had Mingay join us as well.
But Mingay's here. Mike Mary, the other Mike H.
Yeah, Mike H.
Who else? Melanie.
Yeah, Melanie's here. We had Jillian. We had
Jalen is here. Jalen. Hey, I didn't make it over to Caridad, Melanie, because I was so sick. I was going to go and do a live video from the cemetery, and then I couldn't do it. I just am too sick with this cold.
That I understand that. There's, like I said, I seem to, and I'm hoping it's the same way when I go to the Philippines. I'm hoping I don't have that jet lag, but I got to prepare to have it. That's why when I go, I probably won't tell people I'm going until I'm there. So I don't have to deal with. And I love my subscribers, but I don't want to have to try to go out and meet people in the area I'm at until I've had a day or two to acclimate myself to get over the jet lag if I have it. If I don't have it, then I'll let them know that I'm there within a day or so. But the first day there, first 2 days there, you know, I'll probably contact you. You'll probably know I'm going to be there before anybody else. I'll let you know that. Because I'll probably contact you and discuss a couple of the places you stayed at in Cebu to get a rough idea where I should stay. And hey, Anime Reyes is here.
Anime, what do you say? What's it gonna be today? Oh, Mike, yeah, I know that, and I'm bad at pushing the fluids. I really am. But you know what? They went out and they brought back a case of Gatorade for me to make sure I don't become dehydrated. They went out and got 25 bottles of Gatorade, which was nice of them. And so all different flavors. So I've tried the grape, I've tried the red, and all the different flavors. So I think I like the grape the best.
I like the blue. The ice.
The blue is interesting. Yeah, the blue is interesting.
Yeah. I drink tea. Does that count, Mike? I drink
any fluid. Actually, it could be any fluid. But
well, when I was sick, usually with the flu when I was a kid, my mom
too big, it's best.
They would always get me 7-Up. They always, because that's back before Gatorade, but they'd always buy 7-Up instead of Coke or something like that.
I think 7-Up is that's right. It's an electrolyte, isn't it, Mike?
I think so.
Yeah, I think that it has electrolytes in it, and so you could also pick up those packets of electrolyte here at the drugstore and mix them with water, and you're good to go.
Okay. Like I said, and if you had trouble keeping something down, like I said, it would be hot tea and toast when I was a kid, because it was, I'll be honest about it. When I was in the service, the guys that got seasick, like my older brother, I never did get seasick, but he got seasick every time we went out. They would eat crackers because it helped settle the stomach. The saltine crackers. So
I used to do that when I first. Yeah.
The toast was probably similar to that.
Yeah, I don't get seasick. I don't know why. Even those short. Yeah, I have no idea why I don't get seasick. We were on the fast ferry coming in from Cebu to Ormoc, and that thing was, don't come a knocking if this boat's rocking. I mean, it was moving back and forth like crazy, and nothing. I did not feel a thing.
I think I told you the story about the Frederick, the LST I was on, how the guy invented the word turn rock and roll by watching it tied up to a pier. That sucker never stopped moving, man. But Mike says flat Coke or Pepsi better than 7-Up.
Flat Coke or Pepsi, okay. Flat Coke or Pepsi. You're talking
flat Coke or flat Pepsi. And I don't like the flat.
I like it flat, just the same way as I like my black coffee, Mike. You thought I was going to say something else, right? Right, Mike?
I was talking about that. I was at a. I'm trying to remember. It was a Tim. I want to say it was Tim Hortons, not a Starbucks. I was at a Tim Hortons, and there was this black lady and this white guy working behind the counter, and she asked me how I like my coffee, and I said I like my coffee like I like my women, hot and natural. She said she just started laughing. She goes, "I thought you were going to say black."
Yeah, that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny.
Goes, I thought you were going to say black too, and I said no. I like my coffee just like my women, hot and natural. I don't want to change them.
Oh, that's a nice one. That's a nice line. I'm going to steal that from you.
Go right ahead. You're welcome to it. But my uncle Everett used to say he likes his women like his coffee hot and black. But I don't know if you ever.
There's that line from Airplane, right, Larry? There's a line from Airplane where the little girl and little boy are sitting there, and he brings by a cup of coffee for her or a cup of tea, and he says to her, "How do you like your tea?" "I like it the same way I like my men." Yep, she said it. She said it. I started cracking up. So the original line from Airplane was, "How do you like your tea?" And she says, I like it the same way I like my man.
Strong, baby.
Hilarious. If you don't remember that line, you got to go back and watch
I'm
the
gonna have to
movie.
watch it. It's been a long time since
It
I
was
watched it.
hilarious. I rolled over. I was dying on the floor laughing.
Isn't that the one also, the same one where they said, Shirley, you're kidding. No, I'm not kidding. My name's not Shirley or something like
Don't
that.
call me Shirley.
Hey, Jerry, did you notice that Jerry changed his name? He is now
South Texan Jerry remembers the movie. He's saying it was coffee. Yeah, it was coffee. I stand corrected, Jerry.
Yeah, but like I said, Jerry changed his channel's name. That's his channel's new name.
I noticed that.
Yeah.
That makes him easier to find. Wow.
But I noticed it. He was in LV's live stream the other day. We were in there and came in as South Texan Jerry. So I asked him if it was his ninja channel or if he changed his channel name. He said he changed his channel name. And,
Beautiful.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like I said, I've changed mine twice. I mean,
I think Anime. Are you still hanging around? Anime's been monitoring. We've got a video, a short video is about ready to hit 100K, and Anime's been working night and day, pushing it out. Every time she pushes it out, you see the needle move just a little bit. Now we're only 300 views away from 100,000. I wouldn't be surprised if we already have it. Thank you so much for your hard work, Anime.
Anime, I don't know if you can do it or not, but if you can do it, go ahead and drop that link in my channel. Matter of fact, give me a minute, Anime. I'm going to give you a upgrade on the monitor. We'll remove you as a standard monitor. And give you a managing monitor. Now, if you can drop his link, go ahead and drop it.
Thanks so much. That's so kind of you, Larry.
Well, let's get you to 100,000 if we can. So, yeah. So, like I said, Anime, if you, I gave you a managing monitor. So, if you can drop it, go ahead, and we'll see what we can do for Dan to get him to 100,000. I think my best is a maybe 5,000, if that. I don't think I ever.
And then we're only Larry. The other part of that is we're only 75,000 views from hitting 1 million views.
Well, but okay, Jerry said the first time he changed it was just a difference between a comma from the first and the second. And so yeah, I've changed mine. Like I said, I originally went with my own name, Larry Lee, which is my real name. And like Dan knows Chris's
cartoon character would come up. You'd search for it, and then you get Lazy Larry cartoon.
Yeah. But I didn't change it to Lazy. I changed it to Lazy Larry because of Chris and Sabu. Because there used to be a Larry G, Larry B, and me, Larry Lee. So if he said Larry G and I didn't quite hear him right, I might say thought he was talking to me. Or he might have said Larry Lee and I didn't catch it, thinking he's talking to one of the other Larrys. So I thought, well, let's just make it simple. I'll go Lazy Larry. And then, like you said, if you went to search for me, you got all these cartoons for Lazy Larry. So that's why I changed it again to just by adding my last name. Not a problem, Anime. Like I said, if you can add Dan's connection to that video for him, go ahead and do it. If not, that's fine. You can keep the monitor jacket. You come in once in a while. And moderator, like I said, I gave her the actual moderator and not just a standard one. I gave her the bigger one.
Wow.
I did the same thing for LV. LV does a lot for me. But like I said, I don't know if that lets her drop the other part or not, Dan. I really don't know, but we'll give it to her. If it does, it does. If not, well, I tried.
Anime, she's big time, and she's big time on Facebook and YouTube, pushing out the shares.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah.
Thank you so much again, Anime. She's a pro at pushing out the shares.
I'm going to be honest with you. Anime's bigger than I am. LV's bigger than I am. ABCM's bigger than I am, and that they all support me. I'm really grateful for that. Quite a few of them are bigger than I am. You're bigger than I am. I'm on just a little over.
Hey now,
Hey,
I didn't know we were
I'm bigger
going
this
there
way.
with
I'm bigger this way.
how big are you?
Jerry's bigger than I am. But like I said, I just went over 1,000 this year. Come on, guys! Just a couple months ago.
Wow, that's exciting, really.
But I'm not pushing anything. Like I told LV, I do want to do another giveaway, but I haven't decided what kind of giveaway I want to do, when I want to do it. That's something I got to kick around and decide how much I want to give away. I kind of like the thing that you do where you give away like 5 winners, so like 20, $20 US. I kind of
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So like I said, I kind of like the way Elvie and I do it, where more people win, but it just that's something I got to kick around in my mind and try to make.
LV's live streams, they always make my head spin. She's got like 4 or 5 things going on all at one time. And man, oh man, my brain just doesn't work like that. She's one of those Gen Zers or Gen Gers or one of them letter generations. I don't know,
But yeah, like I said, well, I'm going to answer South Texan Jerry's question. He goes, bigger as in height or unhealthy? I'm going to be unhealthy. I'm going to have to say I'm bigger than Dan unhealthy. I'm a short sucker. I don't know how tall Dan is, but I'm only about 5'8". I'm not that tall.
Oh, I'm the same. I'm 5'8".
All right. But I bet you I weigh more than you.
Well, I think I'm at 210 right now, something like that.
You know how happy I would be at 210?
Yeah, I think I'm around 210, and I fight trying to lose 5 pounds. I'm almost giving up.
Dan, I weigh about 280. I'd be happy as all get out 210.
Mike Mary says the answer is eat less food and drink more water. Oh, okay, Mike. All righty then.
Well, I don't think that's going to happen with me, Mike.
Me neither.
What I need to give up is the bad food. I haven't.
How can you lose weight anyway when a Big Mac meal, only goes for something like $4.71 here in the Philippines?
It goes for a lot more than that here, so I don't eat Big Macs. I rarely eat at Big Mac or McDonald's or Burger King or Wendy's.
Hey, did you know? You just remind me of something I wanted to share. I think I shared it, but for those that you don't know, did you know that the master franchise holder of the Burger King franchise here in the Philippines is Jollibee Corporation? I found that out by accident.
They're saying they're really growing here in the United States.
Jollibee, yeah, but they're putting out a crap product, in my opinion.
Okay. Well, next time.
So the Filipinos, they're going to know if they go back and forth. They have direct flights from Los Angeles and Las Vegas, the 2 largest Filipino epicenters in the world. And I'm saying you can't serve up crappy food to a Filipino that knows what Jollibee is supposed to, be all about. Yeah. Those people are taking direct flights once a year from Las Vegas McCarran Field over direct to Manila. You can't be serving crap food in the Jollibee.
Yeah. Well, you're talking about direct flights. My direct flight will probably be to Cebu, unless I change my destination. Right now it's still.
We
Cebu.
Loved it. We love flying Starlux, as you know.
Yeah.
Cebu, Taipei, LAX. Bam. Yeah. Then we went San Francisco, Taipei, Cebu. Bam, in your face.
Well, like I said, I plan on going to Cebu first, and they have direct flight from the United States, so
They sure do.
that's what I plan on doing. I don't want too many layovers.
We had them through Taipei, but they were fast.
Yeah, I was
They
supposed to
were
say,
they were scheduled in there at an hour 40 minutes, but really it didn't seem like that long. Seemed like we barely made it to from the arrival gate to the departure gate, and we were loading up. Boom,
yeah.
away we went.
Anna says, "Sir Mike," I don't know which Mike she's talking to. Says, "Sir Mike, I'm going to help him to hand wash his laundry because I don't use washing machine." Anna Mae said,
Yay! I hope you don't pour gallons of bleach and powder and Downy and all that crap in your laundry solution.
Yeah.
That's terrible. I itch all over the place because of that.
Well, I understand that, Jerry. Like I said, but my destination is Cebu.
Oh, hey, what's Mike saying? He knew that Burger King was owned by Jollibee in the Philippines.
Yeah.
I did not know it.
I did not
but
know that either.
I like Burger King's product. You know,
I do
I
too.
like their hamburger better than I like the Jollibee hamburger.
I like Burger King of the fat of those kind of fast foods. I like Burger King's hamburger best. Now, it's hard to beat Five Guys. I guess you guys will probably say In-N-Out Burger.
In and out and in and out.
I've had Smash. I've had Smash Burger, but I prefer Five Guys over Smash. I haven't had In-N-Out, but I've had Smash and I've had Five Guys. But now Five
We
Guys
used to take the Burger King bumper sticker and put it on our cars, and then they would scratch out the B and the E and R, and so it would say In and Out Urge. You know, the people that own Burger King are them born again Christians, which, you know, I'm sure they weren't inspired by knowing what their bumper stickers were being used for, you know, to promote what is it?
sexual
Recreational sex. I've got the In and Out Urge.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well,
just a little trivia, as Mike likes to do every now and again. He likes to present a little bit of trivia.
Well, now I don't know how true this is, but the popular word that is opposite of what Elvie says when she says "what the fudge," saying I always heard it stood for fortification under carnal knowledge.
Oh yeah,
Grandma Ella, how you doing? Welcome.
Mike is saying I learned from Dance live while he was waiting for the bus. Oh,
Anna Mae says I don't use Fabcons 2, just powder and bars. I just hang our clothes outside the window so it may dry by the sun and air.
yeah, that's the way to do it.
My mom used to do that. My grandma did that. We had when we lived on Beach Street, Terre Haute. This is back before I went in the Navy. That's where they were living when I went in the Navy. We had this clothesline in the back, and so during the summer months, you would do that. Now during the winter, they'd go ahead and dry the clothes at the laundromat. But during the summer months, you'd hang them outside, let fresh air, and they smelled better too, really. But yeah, I can remember taking the clothes out, hanging them on the line, and taking them down. And like I said, my dad was on total disability, so his kids had to help my mom out. So I didn't have to do the wash or anything like that, but I would help hang the clothes up sometimes, take them down. I had to learn how to cook when I was about 12 years old, and I gradually went into cooking more and more stuff. I learned how to bake because, well, I happen to like sweets. So I figured
Hey, maybe you should have been a chef. Maybe you should have been a chef. You should have gone to chef training school.
No, I wasn't into it that much. A baker, maybe I might have been able to get into that. But cooking, no, I did that for survival. And,
yeah, that's right. As a matter of fact, hey, wait, these guys are talking where the Filipino, where they live, there are 2 million plus in California, and there's a huge population, as most people know, in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yeah.
I've lived there before, and also South San Francisco. There's an enclave there where the entire government, city council, mayor, and everything are Filipino.
Yeah. Oh,
So they vote. By the way, they vote just like
there was, at least when I was there was a very large population in San Diego too.
Right. They're all up and down.
Well,
yep. And then where else? Where else? Where else? I'm thinking I'm missing a place, but anyway.
Well, like I said,
they got the whole West Coast covered. I'm thinking Seattle, or
there's a fair size up in Seattle. Bremerton area, up in that area. Because the reason for that is, like I said, the military, especially right out Tacoma, has a naval base. Seattle, and then across the sound is Bremerton. There's naval bases there. So a lot of these guys, and women, served in the services. A lot of the ones I knew were Navy, but there was also some in the Marine Corps and Army, and all the other branches. But in San Diego, a lot of these guys, when they retired, stayed in San Diego, raised their families there, or they were still in and had their families there with them. And that's where they were home ported out of. So, that's why there were so many there, because of the military bases. And not because they were serving the military people, but because they were in the service. And,
All right. Well, I think that's all I got in me for right now, Larry. I'm going to go ahead and cut out.
All right. Well, thank you for coming up. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Bye, everybody.
Now, just to let you know, on Fridays it's going to be hard for me to get there unless I wake up early, because that's a day off now. I used to be at work when you were doing your Friday morning ones, so it'll be a little tougher. Hey, Melinda, how you doing? I didn't see you come in. AB, I don't know who you are. I'll give you a monitor as long as you don't get crazy. We'll leave you as a monitor. Now, if you get crazy, we'll remove you. But there you go. You got a monitor. That's all right. We don't mind strangers here, as long as you behave yourself and treat each other with respect. And yeah, like I said, the thing is here, I mean, if you have a channel, you're more than welcome to promote it. Like I said, I want you can disagree with me or anybody else, but be respectful about it. You take Jerry; he's a Democrat. I happen to be voting Republican this year, but I will accept the outcome of the election. And but like I said, it's just the way it is. There's certain things about Kamala that really bothers me. Illegal immigration is one of my top subjects. I'm not against immigration. My best friend and actually a couple of my best friends in this area here are from China, immigrated legally, and I'm glad they're here. They're great people. But I want people to come in legal. I want to know who's here, and I want to make sure. Hey, Shane, how you doing? And I want to make sure that that they've been vetted to some degree, and well, that's all right, Jerry. I'm just saying you and I voted differently. I have voted Democrat before, and a good chance I'll do it again. And but Mike, you even take care, Mike. Have a good one. But like I said, it just I'm voting on issues that I feel strongly about, and illegal immigration is one of them. I used to not care about immigration at all until about 9/11, and I started paying. It started becoming more and more important to me. Uh, and then you see all the criminals they've let in, and the gangs. So that nothing wrong with despising evil, but remember now, we just have to do what we have to do. And like I said, each one of us we have to decide on what we're voting for and why we're voting that way. And as long as it's actually what you feel and believe, then you should vote that way. Yeah, Jerry, I already said next week I'll be starting an hour earlier because I want to keep the same time in the Philippines. So we'll be starting earlier here because, as you well know, most if not, I'm going to say a lot, probably most of my followers are in the Philippines, at least according to YouTube. Most of my followers are in the Philippines. So I want to make it more convenient for them. And I know it'll make you happier that we start an hour earlier. Uh, so, Detroit, I don't know why I would be in. I love San Diego, California when I was there, but from what I've seen on news, I'm not sure how happy I would be there. I had a good friend of mine. Her whole family were friends, and she was a police. She became a police officer after I left there. Hey, ET, travel freely. How you doing? Welcome. Well, Derek, that's the problem here in New York, especially down in New York City. Uh, they really let people loose. They a lot more than they should. Uh, I mean, if you commit a crime and you're here illegally, they won't turn you over to ICE unless you commit murder. I think, uh, which I think is wrong. I mean, if you're here illegally and you want to say, okay, let them in, all right, I can't stop you because that's the law in New York State. But if they're committing crimes inside the state and you catch them, you should turn them over and have them deported. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, and I'm not talking about if some little kid steals some gum or candy. I'm talking about these guys that go in, break stuff, and steal and shoplift, and they get out and they go back and do it again, and then they go back and do it again because they're stealing just under whatever the limit is. They know what the limit is, and they keep doing it. And that happens in New York. They know that if they steal within less than 1,000 or whatever it is, it's less than a certain amount of money. It might be 900, but it's less than that. As long as you're under that amount, it's not considered a felony, and they let them back out. And if they keep doing it and you keep catching them, and you know they've done it before, I appreciate that, ET. Uh, Under $999 in California, and they keep letting them back out. Hey, Abby G, how you doing? Uh, what kind of message are you sending? Go ahead and do it. We'll let you back out, and you can do it again. We'll let you back out again. Nothing's going to happen to you. So it becomes a way of life, and that's not right. Because they're doing it to stores. Stores have closed down in California, New York City, because they can afford the losses. So they had to shut down because of all the crime they're letting run rampant. That's due to illegal immigration and because of the sanctuary states and cities. So, like I said, you have to pick what you want to base your vote on, and then you have to stay with it. And so let's get off the politics. It's like I said, I'm glad it's over with. For me, I've done my voting. Now I just got to wait and see who wins. And yeah, a lot of everything else is closed down in a lot of places. Now, I happen to live in a smaller area, and thankfully, so far where I'm at, my area itself has not been hit too bad that I know of. At least not where it's affected enough to make the news. There is some going on in the Albany, which is not too far from me, but it's not like New York City. At least not where it's making the news like that. And I don't go down there enough to know. I mean, I drive through there, and I feel safe driving through. But it just we're far enough north of New York City. It takes a long time to get up here, so not too many people come up here. And most of them want to be in New York City because it's the place to be, I guess. Not for me, but I don't like real super large cities. I'm not a big fan of New York City. I've been there. I'll go again. I just like Manila. I've not been there, but I probably will go there to visit, to see it. Just like I've been to Los Angeles, Chicago. I've been to Dallas, Texas. I've been to some big cities. I'm just not a big fan of them. I mean, you go in, you see them, check it out, and you leave. I've been to Washington, D.C. a few times. I love D.C. I'm not so sure how much I'd like it right now with what's going on. I haven't been to D.C. in quite a few years, but I used to love it. I love the museums. The Smithsonian's are great. I love that kind of stuff. So, but we'll see. I've been to Boston, but Boston's not that big. If you ask me, it's big enough, but it's not as big like New York City or Chicago or L.A. or Houston. I've never been to Houston though, but Dallas. Those are some really big cities. I've been to Indy and St. Louis, but those cities aren't that big either. I mean, there are a million or so people but compared to 10 million, or 20 million, I think Manila is around 20 million. They're nothing like that. But, like I said, Cebu is considered a big city by some people, and it's a good sized city. I can handle a city the size of Cebu, but I don't know if I'll like it. Pamela, how you doing? Or I think Elvis says, hang on, Pamela. How you doing, Pamela? Viking, how you doing, man? Thanks for coming. And we're glad to have you here, Pamela. Thank you for coming. I'll try to remember how to pronounce your name correctly. Like I said, the English way of pronouncing it would be Pamela, but I figure Elvie knows better than I do, so she pronounces it Pamela, so I'll go Pamela. And so anyway, like I said, we're just trying to enjoy ourselves. And today was a nice quiet day. I was going to go out and do some running around and take care of some errands, but it didn't work out that way. We got Sovereign Soul coming up, whoever this is. Hello,
What's
sir.
happening?
How you doing?
Hey, I'm finer and frog hair split three ways. Larry, how are you? Nice
Not
to meet
too
you,
bad.
my friend.
Nice meeting you. And what's your channel about?
Oh, we talk mostly about all the paradigms and programming that most people are suffering from. That's been placed on them since a very, very young age. That includes the condition of place where we live, things that we believe are true, the left, right, false paradigm, you name it. It's the conditioning of the human mind and what it's done to collectively to society. And what we do is we kind of try to free people from that.
Okay.
We delve into some deep concepts and topics. A lot of times we go into the cosmology, theology. We get a whole host of topics. So what was the buzz? What y'all kind of going on about on here tonight?
Well, whatever we feel like talking about. We don't usually have a topic of talking. I like to talk to different people,
Uh-huh.
and I have them come up and we'll discuss whatever they feel like talking about.
Well, it looks like most people are really on edge right now. I mean, I'm sure many of us out there have got a feeling like waiting for the other shoe to drop, like there's something big is on the cusp. And myself as well as others have pretty well noted that regardless of however things go on November the 5th, it's going to be a crap show either way.
Oh yeah, but
You
like
know?
I'm going to be honest about it. I would have preferred to be able to vote for somebody else, but I had to vote for the one I thought would do the most for what concerns me.
So the lesser of two evils.
Oh yeah, and a lot of times that's the way you have to vote.
See, I choose
I'm
no evil.
I'm a registered independent, but let's be honest about it. This year, you didn't have even in the primaries, you didn't have much of a choice. The Democrats, you had no choice, except for RFK. If he could get in RFK Jr.
They didn't give you a choice. They just passed it along to Kamala real crap.
Oh yeah,
You know?
I'm just saying. No, the primary at first was Biden and nobody else because they wouldn't let him run, except for RFK got on a couple states and they tried to keep him off all of them. And then the Republicans, before they ever got, I live in New York State. Before they ever got here, it was over with.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
so you really didn't have a where you could go out and choose.
Well, it's been that way, really, if you think about it, for just about every election.
Well,
Because
no,
it's always the lesser of two evils.
oh yeah,
You know,
but I'm saying
and-
in the primaries where you actually get to choose a little bit more.
Sure, but you still end up with evil.
Yeah,
Right
unless
now,
we're choosing.
I remember Johnson. Johnson was the first president I remember. Okay.
Lyndon Bay.
Yeah.
I'm a little older than you.
So I remember him, and I can remember thinking that guy just looks evil. That's because I was really little. I just didn't like when he came on the TV. I'd go in the other room because I just thought he looked like a really mean dude. But
I remember
what I've seen is this steady left, right, left, right, left, right, and it's never gotten better. It's only gotten progressively worse over time. Progressively worse to the point that this is where we're at now. And I look at people say, well, you don't have any other choice. Yeah, I do. I don't choose any evil at all.
Now, see, I was raised that if you don't vote, you can't complain.
Yeah, well, see, I was raised that if you do vote, you can't complain, because really, what's going on when you cast your ballot? All you're doing is giving consent for whatever comes about from that election. That's all you're really doing, because we already know that the popular vote does not matter. It doesn't count. Okay. It's just getting your consent. And I'm looking at two liars. I'm looking at two massive tyrannical liars. I see both of them want to infringe on the Second Amendment. Both of them want to infringe on the First Amendment. Those are the first two unalienable, God-given rights that we have, and both of them have talked where they want to infringe on those, and have. In Donald Trump's case, he has infringed on that by his passing of the extreme risk order protection orders, also known as red flag laws, banning bump stocks, turned millions of American citizens into criminals with the stroke of a pen. I mean, it's insane.
I understand that, but like I said, some of the laws, especially with guns, I agree with limiting who can own them. I'm sorry.
Well, what part of the Second Amendment has that in it? I think it's real simple. It's a real simple phrase.
I know what you're saying.
I mean, it's real simple.
But what I'm saying is, though, if you're a criminal and you've been convicted, I don't think you should be able to go out and buy a gun.
Okay, so no felon should be able to have a gun.
No.
What, really? Do you realize that not all felons are violent crime?
Yeah. But,
Right? You realize that, right?
yeah.
And so all they have to do is, I don't know, catch you with a little bit more money than they think you got, charge you with money laundering or trafficking or something like that. There's drugs on that money, right? Now you're a felon. Now you're a felon, and all you were doing was going to Vegas to play poker, right? Now you're a felon, and you've had your rights taken away, right?
No. Hold on.
So that's it. Shouldn't it be? Isn't the penal system supposed to be that you pay a penance or a sentence for your crime, correct?
Yeah.
So then once you've done that, then what's the problem? Once
Like
you've
I said,
done
that's why you gotta have the arguments. You've
Mhm.
gotta.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
You
Is
can
the
go
Second
down
Amendment,
that slippery slope where
but
you
what's
say
not a
everybody
slippery
should be-
slope, though, Larry? It's
No,
real
it's
simple.
a
It's
slippery
one
slope.
sentence. It's one sentence,
No,
and
no,
it doesn't even mention guns.
But I'm just saying, though, a slippery slope is everybody can have guns. That's a slippery slope, if you ask me. All right. But also, if you restrict it too much, that's a slippery slope. So there's a slippery slope on both sides of this.
Well, the whole point of it, though, is that there's no slippery slope because it's
Good
only
night, Jerry.
it's only one sentence, right?
Yeah.
It's one sentence, and it says, "A well-regulated militia being necessary
I
to the
agree with
security of a free
well-regulated
state."
militia.
Well, do you know what a militia actually is?
It's a civilian populace.
It's you and me. That's right. That's
Civilian
right.
populace.
And well-regulated doesn't mean restricted. It
No, it
means
doesn't.
free-flowing. It means free-flowing, well-supplied.
No.
Do you realize that many of the cannons and things like that were used in the Revolutionary War were actually privately owned? They were privately owned. If you can maintain a Hawk missile system, for instance, and as long as you don't infringe on anybody else's rights with that or cause havoc or whatever, you can have that. It doesn't say anything about guns. It says arms. And we have to be very careful too, because they've slipped in careful wording. This is how this whole legal system works. A gun, when you call it a firearm, you've now classified it as a commercial item, and it's now regulated under Uniform Commercial Code. It doesn't even fall under the Constitution.
I lost my earpiece. Okay, I'm back.
So firearm is a commercial term. They're not firearms. They're guns. They're arms. And the Constitution does not specify what arms you're allowed to have.
No,
It just says arms. So the thing is that if an armed society is a polite society, in Ohio, just 7 months ago, they made it legal to conceal carry without a permit. Crime rates have gone down in the biggest cities sevenfold.
I know that when it's legal to carry concealed, that the crime rate goes down no matter where it's at. So
well, see, there's where you got to be careful: legal and lawful. Now, the Bill of Rights falls under lawful. What is law? Law is established by God. It's immutable. You have the right to say what you want. You have the right to protect yourself any way that you feel necessary. You have the right to worship whichever God you wish to, blah, blah, blah. The case goes on. You have a right to not be hassled by authorities and have them come up and just search you and shit. I mean, these are inalienable rights granted to you by your creator. Right now, when you get into legal, that's legislative. That's not law. Man can't create law. Law was created already. Man can only legislate. Just to give you a great example, in 1860, it was perfectly legal for me to own another human being and subject them to servitude. Now, that's unlawful under natural law, under God's law. That's unlawful. But it was legal under man's law. So man's law, his legality was unlawful. And it was the opposite. If I went to free that man from servitude, it was illegal for me to do it. But under God's law, it was lawful for me to do that. You understand? It's two different things. There's codes and legislation, then there's law. Law deals with when there's a crime, and a crime is
one of
only
the worst states for legislating guns is California, and then
they're
probably
terrible.
close behind New York.
They're terrible.
I
They're
mean,
leading the nation in autism right now too. 1 in 22 kids.
but I know that there was a guy, an older guy, who defended his house when people breaking in. And they arrested him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there's another guy that had people try to break in, and he was defending himself and his family, and they arrested him.
Mm-hmm.
And he had legally had to. They both legally had their guns,
Mm-hmm.
but California, they were at fault for using them to protect themselves.
Yeah, it's a hellhole.
Yeah.
And this is it. This is why these places, I call them victim empowerment zones.
Oh yeah.
Or criminal empowerment zones. And it's because you empower the criminal by disarming the potential victims.
Well,
I mean, who's going to have a problem walking up to somebody on the street knowing, hey, there's a straight-laced guy. I'm going to steal his wallet. What's he going to do about it? He ain't got a gun. I got a gun. I'm not even supposed to have a gun, but I got one because I'm a criminal and I don't give a shit what the law says. You know, that's pretty much how it rolls.
yeah. Well, Derek, America does have a large gun crime problem. It really does.
Well, it's a
But-
crime. It's a crime problem.
That's what I said. It's a crime
Yeah.
problem.
And there's no such thing as gun crime. Guns don't commit crimes. There's no such
Guns
thing
don't
as
shoot
gun
people. People
violence.
shoot people. They try to
Right.
blame the gun.
They do that. Well, yeah, you can't do that. It's a people problem. It's
I know,
not.
but they try to blame the gun and the gun
Sure.
manufacturer. They try to sue the gun manufacturer and all that.
So they did that in England, right? They got rid of everybody's guns. Nobody's got guns now. Now they're having a problem with mass stabbings and slashers, people with knives. Now they're going to try to regulate knives. I mean, it's like, look, that's what causes the problems. When you try to start regulating the shit, if you don't know if Grandpa Jones is packing a 1911 on him or not, you're going to be less apt to want to rob him.
Well, it's like if you walk in, and this has happened before, you walk into a bar and try to rob it. What happens if everybody in the bar has a gun?
Yep.
Or you don't know if anybody has a gun. I mean,
That's
you know,
the beauty.
you're going to think about it. You know, I agree with you. It like I said, I hate to say it, but I still think some people need to be regulated. Maybe you want to go with the mentally handicapped or the criminally violent, but there needs to be some kind of control. I don't think it should be where.
But wait, where does the right of another man to control a man come from?
Law.
Well, yeah, but where's that come from? In other words, you cannot go up. Hold on,
when you agreed to
I never agreed to any of that. I don't remember ever filling out no form or signing.
Well, what I'm saying is, though, when they first came together as a society,
it.
all right, as a society, you agree to protect each other. That's why tribes came up with.
Right.
The Indians had tribes, and they also had stuff like that in Europe. But that was so they could protect each other.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So you had to give up some rights for the good of the others.
No, you didn't have to give up rights. You just merely had to look out for one another. That's all.
Yeah, but
You don't have to give up
your
rights.
Yeah, well, what I'm saying is, if you had no rights at all, you had no right to private property because anybody could take it. So
do
you
you
had to give up
agree-
some.
Do you agree that all contracts are voluntary?
No.
No. So how do you have a contract without voluntary parties?
All contracts are not voluntary
Name one that's not.
when they put you in jail.
That's not a contract. You agreed to that contract when you agreed to going in there.
No.
Mm. Yeah.
No.
No,
So what gives one man, all right, for instance, I cannot go up and take somebody and kidnap them and lock them in a cage, right?
That's
I
correct.
can't do that. I can't do that. You can't do that.
Legally,
Oh.
yes.
So, well, where does that? How does somebody legally be allowed to do that? Where does that?
That has
right
nothing to
come
do with gun control. And if you can't see that this country needs some kind of gun control,
No, nobody. Why do you think I need to be controlled because somebody else can't handle themselves?
because it has more
What
to
gives you the right to control me because somebody else can't?
because
take
I
care of themselves?
because not to be so blunt, but at the end of the day, me and my family still got the fucking right to live. And who the hell are you to come
I'm
point a
not trying
gun?
to infringe. I'm not trying to do anything about that. You're trying to infringe on my rights because you're
I'm not trying
scared.
to infringe on anybody's rights, and I'm not scared.
Then why would you want to control me? Why don't you protect your family? Don't worry about controlling me.
Well, protecting my family means taking
Go
you
for
out.
it.
Look, don't worry, we'll be there.
Take me out for what? I haven't done anything.
Well, you can't have anybody with just any arm either.
Why?
Why? Okay, so I can build nuclear missiles in my basement?
I don't care. As long as you don't
Okay.
use them on somebody. The moment you use it in transgression,
Well, what if I just happen to have a few too many on Saturday night and I'm going
Well-
down my stairs and I knock one over and it goes off and I take out half the neighborhood?
well, what if what if a frog had what if a frog had wings, right? He wouldn't bump his ass every time he jumped.
That
What if
that
you
has
got
nothing to do with
drunk? Hold
that.
on. What if you got drunk and you fell down and knocked something off the wall and killed somebody sitting on the
You
couch?
just want to live in a society where people have no responsibility.
No, that's not anything of the sort. You be responsible for yourself?
No.
You can't be responsible for yourself. You must have someone hold a barrel of a gun to your head to make you fucking behave. Really?
Mike?
No.
Whoa.
See, there you go, gaslighting me.
Wait a second. You just said you can't control yourself and you need someone else to control you.
People in general cannot just control themselves. You
I
can't have.
control myself. just
You're an
fine.
anarchist.
Yes, I am.
Okay, have fun.
I do.
Okay.
I do. You don't have. I don't have the right to control you and what you do. As long as you're not harming someone else, then
The harm that can come from my actions or
that's
your actions
point.
has something to do with it all.
Well, then that's the action. Don't do that action.
Well, then that's a form of control right there.
Your self-control.
No,
You're
nobody's
talking about-
going that way.
Nobody's got self-control. I have self-control. I've gone almost 60 years.
Like
on
I
this
said,
earth
what
without
if I
ever
have the
having
wrong
lost
thing
injury or
on a
harm.
Saturday night in my home and it just happens to fall over and take out half the neighborhood? And me with it, I'm already gone.
Well,
Nobody had a responsibility to prevent that?
can you afford a nuclear missile?
Yeah,
You can.
sure.
Sure, you can, and you
I
can
could-
maintain one, and you know how to. And it's a practical weapon for you to have, right?
I can build a dirty bomb.
Well, go ahead. If nukes were real, you could indeed build one. Of
Now they're not real.
course, they're not.
Okay.
How do you split something that no one's ever seen?
I disagree. I do believe nukes are real.
We
Thank you,
big
Larry.
bombs. You don't. Then how come there's people live
I
in
believe
Nevada?
nukes are real.
How do people live in Nevada? How do people live in Hiroshima? How do people live in Nagasaki? How do people live in
Because radiation will deplete itself to a certain point over time.
We're told that it's going to make everything unlivable for 1,000 years and everything, right?
Depending on how much you release, yes.
They don't have them, dude. If they
Okay.
had them, somebody would have used one by now.
Sure.
I'm gonna take a break, guys. I got to do something.
We got to have some kind of sensible gun control in this country.
I have gun control. I have it.
Yeah, what's
I
it
have
stop
all
my
kinds of guns.
does my kid have the right to go to school without being shot?
Oh,
Of
that
course,
happens
everybody has a
everywhere,
right
all
to
the
go
time.
anywhere without being shot. What the hell are you talking about?
Well, does my kid have that right?
Well, of course. Why wouldn't he?
Well, because it's happened too many times where children have attended school innocently
Uh-huh.
and gotten murdered.
Well, whose fault is that?
Whose fault is that? That's a society that did not have common sense regulation of firearms.
Wait,
And I'm
it's
for
the
firearms.
society- Wait, it's the society, not the guy that took the gun and did the shooting.
What?
It's not the guy that did the shooting. It's society.
It's both.
How?
He in the first hand is liable, but the society that allowed that to happen.
Okay. Well, I'm going to put it in the same type of thought for you. Here's the same thought process. All right. Millions of people or thousands of people a year are killed by drunk drivers. Right?
Okay.
They
Sure.
are. It's a terrible thing.
Right.
And we've even got laws against it.
But don't
And-
mix that in with the gun argument.
Wait.
That's a
all we
separate
have
argument.
to do, all we have to do is because there's a few individuals out there that are not responsible, let's take away everybody's car.
That doesn't that I told you, don't try that argument. It doesn't
It's the
even
same
compare.
thing. It's the same thing.
It is not.
It's the same
It
thing.
is
So
not.
who was responsible for the deaths of the people? Was it the person or the instrument?
The person.
There you go.
They're controlling the motor vehicle, but that has nothing to do with the gun.
Wait, it's the same thing. Somebody got killed due to somebody else's irresponsibility with something, right?
What?
Somebody was killed by somebody else's
This guy needs to walk everywhere.
That means we have to control everybody, right? Because there's a few irresponsible people. We have to control everybody.
He's a liberal. You can't talk to him.
No, you can't.
Who's a liberal? I'm not a liberal. I'm not a liberal or a
No,
Democrat or
not you,
any of that.
not you. I'm talking about Big Mac Daddy.
I'm not a liberal.
Then why do you want to infringe on the Second
Everything
Amendment?
that you've talked about has been liberal.
You got to have some kind of common sense gun control.
I got common sense gun control. I'm responsible with my guns. I'm responsible with my ammunition. I don't point it at people and I don't shoot people unless they need to be shot.
Right, but that's you. That's not
Yes,
that's not everybody
that's right.
else.
That's right. So why would you want to control me because somebody else doesn't match up to the standard?
There needs to be some kind of common sense gun control in this
I
country.
just told you there is.
Okay. What is this, Big Mac Daddy, that you consider common sense gun control? Let's hear it.
Well, let's put it to you this way: even our grand old military that will not put a firearm in your hand until you've had firearms training.
Uh-huh.
That's a fact.
Okay.
My son who turns 18 next week does not need to be able to get down this town and buy himself, and he has the money to do it. He doesn't have to need to be able to get downtown to buy 50 or 60 AR-15s, a Barrett 50 caliber, and he wants to throw in the back of his truck and come home with it.
Who in the hell is ever going to do that?
Anybody? What do you mean? Who's going to do it? It happens all the time. How do you think the cartels? How do you think the cartels of
Just
South
like
America get armed?
Just like you don't have the
From the
abortion
CIA,
when the person
dumbass.
dies.
Where do you think they get them? They get them from the CIA, just like all the rest of them.
They don't get all of it from the
You
CIA.
want up that?
Hey,
Tell me about Fast and Furious, Big Mac Daddy. Tell me about Fast and Furious.
Hey,
I'll just tell you about my friend who's a Colombian national.
Let's calm down.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. You say you're acting like they're coming up here to gun shows to buy guns. They're not. They're getting.
I didn't
crazy.
act like that. I didn't even mention the gun show problem.
Come on. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
All right, I'm going to tell you something. Let's change the subject. Most of my viewers are in another country, and this doesn't apply to them. I don't mind you expressing your opinion. You have every right to your opinion. But let's get back onto something that's a little more.
All I asked for was common sense gun laws and gun
I
control.
know, and he doesn't believe. He doesn't believe in gun
What
laws.
would you think was
Hold on. He
Just
doesn't
what?
believe in gun laws. Neither one of you are going to change your minds.
Well, I just am curious as to know what would be one and how a criminal is going to follow a law. Think
Well, he
about this.
doesn't.
This guy's getting ready to go rob the 7-Eleven. Then he loads up his gun and he gets ready to go out the door and goes, "Oh man, I can't go rob that store. This gun's illegal, man."
We know that. Believe me, we know that. That's not what we're saying.
We're
All
not
right,
even talking about that.
Ed, come on. And
I'm
let's
just
change-
the other thing I mentioned was, doesn't my son have the right to attend school without the threat of being shot?
Sure.
I agree
absolutely.
with that. But
Everybody's got that right.
That hasn't been taken away. What we have
It has been.
what we have
Hey,
is a
Pinky,
people
how you
problem.
doing?
Big Mac Daddy, we have
Please.
a people problem. We don't have a gun problem. We have a people problem. We have
Just like-
maniacs. We have
Sovereign,
maniacs
Sovereign,
running.
Mac
the
Daddy,
streets.
both. Let's just drop it. All right. We're not going to change this. My channel's not about gun rights.
Right.
We're about trying to help each other. So
I agree with you, Larry. I'm not the problem here.
I'm not saying who the problem is. The problem is we're getting off onto a tangent that is not going to interest most of the people.
I agree with
Sovereign
you.
has, hold on. Sovereign has his right to say what he wants.
Oh, I
he's
didn't
had
say
his-
that he didn't.
All right. But
And we probably agree on more than he would think.
Oh,
But
most likely.
but let me tell you something. There's got like I mentioned, my son does not need the right to go buy all those firearms.
That's your son.
Nobody's son needs that right.
his son's under 18.
My son turns 18 next week.
Yeah, but he's under 18 right now.
Well, the Tuesday the 5th. He gets to vote for the first time, and he can go do what he wants for the first
He's
What
time.
got
do
to
you
register
think? What do you
for,
think about a
selective
potential
service.
draft? I'm sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
He's
What'd you say,
gotta- He's got to go sign for the selective service too.
That's
since
what I was
he's
gonna say.
18.
Yeah, and you have a month after your 18th birthday, unless they've changed it, to sign up for the selective service.
Yeah,
I
believe you gotta go to the post
shocked
office.
the guys when I walked in on my birthday and signed up.
Yeah.
But I joined the Navy. I was not during NOM. I was not being drafted. I was a volunteer. I did over 6 years in the Navy. I'm a firm believer in a strong military. So I don't know how you think about that. It doesn't matter to me. Like I said, we all have.
I was Army.
We all have.
I was Army. I was 3 years in the Army. I went in when I was 17.
Hey, I'll make love, not war. Be prepared for both.
But
So,
yeah,
Big
but
Mac
like I said-
Daddy, how do you feel about your son could potentially be drafted, and the
Now,
way it's looking.
hold on, Derek. You next time when you put that word in there, put the asterisk or something and just change the spelling a little bit. Let's keep the language a little clean. I don't mind you using that language, but like I said, do something like this. Whoops! What the heck happened there?
I've known a lot of people that have been drafted.
Yeah, that's
I wasn't. I was not
terrible.
drafted.
that's
I
a
know somebody was on D-Day Beach, day number 3.
Do
Hmm.
something like that, Derek. If you're gonna use that word, just do something
You
And
like
know
I
that.
asked him how he got out of there.
Hey, Des. No.
my uncle.
My
uncle
older
was
brother
a
and I both
Seventh-day
went in the
Adventist.
Navy during NOM. Now my older brother was going to be drafted, but he was
Uh-huh.
still in high school when he got. Because this is back when they had the lottery, and they draw so you knew where your draft number was. And he got his draft number, and it was very low, like 21 or 27. It was in the 20s. So he knew he was going to be drafted. And he thought, well, if I'm going to go in, I'm choosing the branch. So he went down and joined the Navy.
Hmm.
Now, my draft number was like 269, 271, somewhere in there. I wasn't going to get drafted. But my whole life, from ever since I can remember, I wanted to go in the military. Now, what branch I wanted to go into would change. Just before I went in, I was thinking about the Marine Corps.
Mm.
And I had a family friend who was in the Marines, served in Vietnam. I mean, I knew 3 guys. The guy that was a family friend was dating my one of my sisters. I knew 2 other guys that went in the Marine Corps, and I knew a guy that was in the Navy. He also was in country. If you ever seen the movie Green Beret, the heavy equipment operators that were getting shot on, driving the bulldozers and all that, those were Navy CBs. That's what he did. So he'd been in quite a few gunfights himself. Now, all 3 Marines said the exact same thing. They were proud they did it, but wouldn't do it again.
Yeah.
And the family friend that was in the Navy said he's proud he'd done it and would do it again. And so I
Jeez.
decided I'd rather be proud that I did something, would do it again. Plus, that I got to thinking about it. I could swim damn good. I was a real good swimmer. So if my ship or boat got shot out from underneath me, I could swim. I'm not a small boy, even back then. I mean, broad shouldered and everything. And I figured those bamboo trees would be awful hard for me to hide behind.
Oh shit!
So I decided to go to the Navy. that's why I went Navy, and I did over 6 years. Loved every minute of it. I've been to the Philippines while I was in the Navy. I've been to Taiwan. I've been to Japan. I've been to Hong Kong, Hawaii. I traveled around a bit. And
I told you what
loved
my uncle did in the Navy, Larry.
it. And what did he do?
My uncle was a famous crap shooter in the Navy. He paid off a lot of homes and bought
Yeah.
his family all cars. And
Yeah, I remember
he
you talking
came, he
about that.
came home from the Navy extremely wealthy when he came home.
I didn't gamble, so I did, but I was on the.
They'd
We
wake
used
him
to
up
play
to take him
spades a
crap
lot.
shooting.
Oh no, we played spades. Penny a
They-
point, dime a
They'd wake
set,
him
dime
up
a point,
out
quarter a set.
drunk to go crap shooting.
And but I won money and I lost money playing cards.
His mother's house looked like a castle when he came home.
But no, like I said though, my older brother was actually in Nam on a ship for a while. On his first ship, second ship he was on ship with me, and I had orders to Vietnam and they got canceled. I was sitting in Yokosuka, Japan, when the orders were canceled, so we ended up staying in Japan a little longer. So at the time I was kind of bummed out. Not so much that I wasn't going to Vietnam, but I had to stay. I was tired. I was ready to leave Japan and go somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the kind of person I love going new places. All right, Derek, you take care, man. Derek says he's going to go watch Bob Ross make a happy painting. So
I knew
Right,
I knew a guy that when I was a kid, he was a friend of my parents. He'd come back from over there, and nobody'd seen him for a while. And apparently, he was one of the guys that we didn't have in Cambodia, with no name tag, no ID, no dog tags, none of that shit. They were over on the other side of the Cambodian border.
I've known a few lurks too.
yeah. Well, I had a cousin did 5 tours in Vietnam, volunteered
You
for
know,
4 of them.
As far as like a military to protect our country, I could see that. But what we've done really, I think the last time that an American soldier literally defended American freedom, it wasn't over in somewhere else at somebody else's war or some crap, was probably in 1865. Because ever since then, it's been nothing but us going over and screwing with other people around the world.
No, I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to disagree with
do
you.
something, and it's like,
I'm going to say World War II.
Yeah,
Because
World
they
War II,
attacked
we had to
us.
take out the Germans.
Well, we also
I
had to take out
agree.
the Japanese because they're the ones that attacked us.
Well, we was poking the bear really
Well, it might be,
hard
but-
in 1941. We was really poking the bear hard. See, Roosevelt was pushing for war and trying
I
to
know
get
that.
them
I know
to
that
go
is a
to
theory.
war
Yes.
because Churchill, his cousin, wanted us in the European theater. And so they were able to go in there through proxy. In fact, when Roosevelt moved the fleet to Pearl Harbor, it was at the protests of the commanding admiral at the time.
Well,
Yeah.
you want to talk about the Navy, though?
Wait a second.
Go ahead, then
says-
I got one for you.
He was complaining because it was so far from the American coast. And after all, the American Navy's primary job is to protect our outer coast, right? And stay out there. And he said it made us vulnerable to attack. And instead of even listening to him, Roosevelt fired him. And I think who'd he put in? It wasn't Halsey. Was it Halsey?
No.
Was it Nimitz?
No. Yeah.
No,
Nimitz.
came after the attack. Nimitz came
I'm
after
trying
the
to think
attack.
who it was at the time, but yeah, they fired his ass. They fired him. They said, "Nope, you shut
Nimitz
up."
came in after the attack.
Do you know what one of the biggest embarrassments to the U.S. Navy is ever?
The Liberty.
The whole East Coast leading up to World War II. They had so little protection. They had German U-boats literally looking at New York Harbor.
There was a place called what was it? Torpedo Alley off the coast of North Carolina.
And the
people
United
actually
States
sat on
Navy
their
should be
porch.
embarrassed.
Well,
for the poor
You're
coverage.
talking about the Germans now. Before we got into World War II, there was a whole lot of Americans that supported Germany.
Oh, sure.
There was a lot of Americans that supported
Yeah.
Germany. No,
In
I'm
fact,
not
dare I
saying it's
say,
right,
even
but
the
that was one of the reasons why we didn't get into it.
Yeah.
And that might have been why Roosevelt wanted us to get drawn into it. But he
Yeah.
knew that there was a huge contingent of
Well,
Americans that actually
had-
supported the Nazis.
it hadn't been that long since World War One either, and they were like, "No, once is enough. To hell with that."
Yeah. But I'm
You
saying,
know?
no, they and the Democrat tried to use this as a thing against Trump when he held his rally there at Market Square Garden.
Madison Square.
Madison, yeah.
You're right, Madison Square Garden. That the Nazis had a big rally in New York, and they were saying at the same venue. No, because that venue didn't exist back in 1938. It was built later. But they were trying to, and they would show pictures of the Nazis, and then try to interpose it on Trump.
Well,
Like I said,
one thing about Trump's rally at Madison Square Garden, and if he wants to complain about all the crime in America and everything else, he came in and had his little rally and wasn't even bothered.
Yeah.
So all the crime that he talks about don't exist. The man,
I
talks
think it
like a
does.
sixth grader.
So
I think it
that
does.
12-year-old girl didn't get raped and killed?
They just
Where on Madison Square Garden the other night? That
no.
happened?
He's talking about in the States. You said the crime doesn't exist. It does.
It didn't exist at Madison Square Garden in the streets the other night. And if
No,
it was so bad and so rampant, it would have been there.
That's
not
because
with all
Satan
not
was
with
in
all those
Los
secret stores
Angeles.
and everything else there.
You want to point to one 12-year-old girl out of how many millions of people live in America?
They had a 5-year-old girl just raped by illegal alien this week in New Jersey. I'm trying to remember.
Listen,
the
they
state.
got cells. They got
How about
cells
that?
planted around this country right now. There are
Oh, yeah, they
cells
do.
planted around this country, and I think
Oh yeah.
they're going to kick them off real soon. And even in the little town where I live, man, at our grocery store, I've seen these people. And I'm in a small town. You know everybody, and I'm like, where the fuck did that guy come from? I never saw that guy before. Who's this fella? You know, that kind of thing. And I'm like, wait a second. You know, and they're foreigners. And I'm starting to wonder, you know.
Like I said, I have nothing
ready.
against immigrants. My best friends here in this area where I live, they're all Chinese and they all immigrated here.
Yeah, but they did it legally.
They did it legally. That's what I'm.
They
That's what I'm
came
against
through the
the
front
illegal.
door.
That's it.
They came through the front door and didn't
Yeah.
go behind.
They were vetted. I mean, you know, you got people coming in. They're not. Oh, we'll give you a hearing and you show up. Well, the guy that
Mhm.
raped that little girl, the one that's 5 years old, that was just raped this week in New Jersey. I'm trying to remember the town. I can't remember the town. They just had it on the
Yeah, but you guys act like these are just individual acts that wouldn't have happened. This kind of stuff goes on in every society, in every world, every day.
No.
It could have been-
This
it could
wouldn't have
have
happened
been
because he
over-
wouldn't have been here. Now, I'm not saying some 5-year-old girl wouldn't get raped,
Right.
but not by this guy and not this girl.
Yeah, but
Is what I'm saying.
right. But you're pointing out to one act and saying this is why. It
No,
doesn't
no.
work that way.
Yes, it
Yes,
does.
it does.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
Because there's so many people that come
It could
through.
have been prevented.
Yeah, but did he come across the border or how did
Yes,
he get here?
he came across.
How
the
do
border.
most people come into this country, walk across the border? They fly in and arrive in an air.
And they come in legally, though. Most of them.
They're not coming in legal. They're flying in and being handed a hearing card. The
Yeah,
same
I
way
know.
as crossing the border, but 10 times as many people fly in as walk across the border, and nobody addresses that.
As long as they're illegal, it's wrong. Is what I'm saying. They need to be vetted before they get here.
Yeah, but
have their hearing before that, just like the ones
Trump
that come
had
in
4
legally.
years before and did nothing about it. He didn't touch it. He ran his mouth about it, but he didn't touch it. And now he wants to put
You
up
had
the
few-
point.
you had
Well,
fewer
Joe
come
Biden
in.
didn't take care of it either. Well, that's true, but neither did you, Donald. Where were you?
Well, you got to understand, people. This is the false left-right paradigm. Okay, in reality, this is like WWF.
Hey, lady.
They are really, in all reality, great friends. And just to point that out, you remember when Donald was running the last time, and he's like with Hillary, and he's lock her up. That's right, we're going to get her locked up. Yeah. As soon as he secured the vote, he said, "Oh, we don't care about that anymore. They're great people. They're good friends of mine. I've known them for years." Gives them a standing ovation at his luncheon. I mean, what? Okay, so he gets fake assassination attempted at this thing where he got shot in the ear, and then miraculously regenerated cartilage, and there's no marks, nothing on there. He just healed up because he's a fast.
Isn't that amazing?
It's
I'm
amazing.
not
And the
saying he
left
was
and the
shot,
right,
but
and
I
the
am
left-
saying it
well,
wasn't
here's
fake
the thing,
because there
though,
were
Larry.
people
He
killed.
didn't get shot. He
Larry,
got
here's the
maybe
thing.
cut with a shard of glass.
Here's the thing. The left,
Regardless.
the
Got a
the
tampon
left
on his
is
ear.
pretending like it's real too. Okay, they're both pretending like this was real. So what it comes down to, it isn't left versus right. It's not me versus you. It's us versus them, and it has always been us versus them. This whole dialectic is nothing more than the fake arguments between Hulk Hogan and Macho Man, and the audience is eating it up. And you leave the WrestleMania, go down the street for a steak, and you see them two sitting at a table having a beer, laughing about what a great job they did. Okay, that's what you really have going on.
You're right about the wrestling being fake. There's people that get hurt doing it, but it's only because they didn't land right.
Well, they do a thing called blading, even where they'll cut themselves.
They invented that. They invented that right here down the street from where I live, Larry.
Well, I'm just saying though,
Hamburg, Pennsylvania, and Vince McMahon.
Yeah, but I'm just saying though, they sometimes get hurt, but that's because they didn't fall right.
Oh, and who's good?
They
friends
practice
with
falling,
Vince?
and if they don't do it right, they can get hurt.
Who's good friends with Vince? Oh, that's right, Donald Trump. That's right. Wasn't
Well,
he?
Donald Trump was in it because he could rent him his large arenas in Atlantic City's how they got hooked up.
Because they're both showmen. This is what you got to understand. He's a showman. He's a salesman.
Senator Trump from Atlantic City, and I'll know him a little bit better than that. He's also he's a liar, a cheat, and a thief.
They all are. How do you think they got to that level of the political spectrum, man?
How do
You don't
think they
get up
got
there
the
unless
money
you're
they
big in the
got?
club, bro.
Well,
You think they got their money by playing by the rules?
Shit, no.
Trump don't have the money. That's the funny part.
He's a great businessman who filed bankruptcy like 7 times.
More than
Okay.
that.
That's
I
a
think
great
only
businessman.
7. I think it's only 7.
No, it's much more than 7, Larry. And
And guess who bailed him
no,
out?
it's much more than 7.
Guess
No,
who
it's
bailed him
7
out?
It's 7 on one casino.
Guess who bailed him out?
No.
Rothschild Inc. Rothschild Inc. bailed out Donald Trump. And then he took Wilbur Ross of the Rothschild Bank and made him Secretary of the Treasury. Right? Now, then he turns around and has Steve Mnuchin. He puts him in there, another Goldman Sachs banker thief. Right? And now what's he talking about putting in there with him? Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock. Are you kidding me? Drain the swamp. He's just putting different creatures in it,
Well,
man.
right, exactly. Well, I don't think Trump's going to win on Tuesday.
I don't think we're going to have an election, bro.
I live here in Pennsylvania. We're going to have an election, and they've already shot down some of his claims in the Supreme Court for Pennsylvania's election. And he's got a lot of problems. We're going to have an election on Tuesday, and Trump is not going to win. But you'll never have Trump concede the election.
I think you're
That's my opinion.
And you know what? They know nobody's going to do shit about it. Nobody's going to do anything about it. They're going to put the cheat in, and nobody will do anything about it. Because after all, you wore a diaper on your face because we told you to.
They're not going to put. They're not going to put Trump back in. And regardless of what happens, Trump's not going to win either. He doesn't carry the popular vote.
I don't know, man.
Right
I have
now,
not
I don't
seen
know.
a single
There's a
Harris.
lot of people that don't like
Virginia.
Kamala.
I swear to God,
I've been
up
to
and
a
down
rally
through-
back in 2016, and I'll tell you what, he packs in the people.
They're leaving his rallies here in this end of Pennsylvania. I live in Western PA,
That might be.
and they're leaving his rallies early. They're not happy with him. They're not happy with what he has to say. He thought his little thing talking about Arnold Palmer having incredible manhood got him votes. They hate him over there now. And I live right down the street from Latrobe, PA. Everything he could have talked about, he's talking about stupidity. These people are acting like it's okay. And the other half is saying, what are you talking about? The popular women's vote out here in Western PA, he's not going to carry. Women are not. This abortion thing is he going to lose over it?
most of the women are not going to vote for Trump. We already
I
know that.
cannot believe there's that many people that are that vehement over wanting to murder children. I
They
cannot
don't
get.
want to murder children. It's health care.
Oh, it's not healthcare.
And you can sit there and laugh and tell me abortion's not health care. It is.
No, it's not.
It is.
Is legal murder.
No, not all abortion is abortion. Some of it is health care.
So,
But
I'll
they
give you
can't-
that. Some's health care.
But the problem is,
sometimes you have to do it to save the woman.
Yeah,
there's more to it than just save the woman.
I'm just saying
Sometimes-
there are
less than
instances.
0.01% of the time.
I
Yeah,
didn't
I
say
know.
that. I just
Well,
said
yeah, but you're going. Yeah, but that you grab
Yeah,
that
but you didn't
percentage.
Tell me a story that they do this all the time. That it's so every person has problems that they
Do-
can't
do
get
you
an
know who's-
abortion
do you know?
No, they don't.
and have sepsis and they're gonna
Do you know
die.
Do you know what sepsis is?
Yeah,
What
Do
is
you
it?
know what group started
it's an
Planned
infection. It's a
Parenthood?
blood
Right.
infection.
Bill Gates' parents
No, Planned
and
Parenthood.
Margaret
You know-
Sanger.
Now, what was Margaret Sanger?
She was a eugenicist.
She was a racist.
Mhm. She wanted to kill all the little black weeds.
Oh,
And
yeah.
that's the heavily
She wanted to
targeted
sterilize
community.
them.
is the
When
black
they came
community.
in to have abortions, she wanted to sterilize them, the girls, to keep them from having kids.
But that's
That's how Planned Parenthood started.
okay. But Larry, that's how it started. But that's not what it evolved into.
That's because like the Nazis became Disneyland too, right? Okay,
Yeah.
sure.
And he's worried about
Oh,
Hey,
guns.
hey guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end this one.
I got another one for you. I mean, I live in Johnstown. I guess you're going to tell me about the Red Cross and Clara Barton next.
No, not like I said. We're going to end this one before people get too animated.
Well, you thought abortion is not a necessary
And
woman's
besides,
health
I've been going
issue.
on. I've been on for almost 2 hours. So
Damn.
Yeah,
I want
he's
to thank
been
you
on
guys
for a
for coming
while.
up. Next time, let's try a different subject. Let's stay off the political stuff. Like I said, Sovereign, you had your right. I wanted you to tell people what your channel's about. So we got that out there. So anybody that wants to check
It
that
was
kind
nice
of stuff
meeting
out
you,
can do
Sovereign.
so.
Yeah, man, you too.
And so thank you for coming up. Big Mac, thank you for coming up. Mike Hunt,
Yeah, at least I'm polite.
I want to thank you guys both. All
You guys
three of
got to
you for coming
agree.
up.
I gave you your position to talk.
But so anyway, thank you for coming. I want to thank everybody that was here.
And I come at you with no hate, but the only thing I can tell you is there's got to be some kind of common sense gun law.
Yeah.
No,
And I ain't
no,
saying
no.
take every, and it's not take everybody's gun,
And we
but
asked
within
you-
that there needs to be some kind of gun control.
It's
Now,
not
either
allowed.
control
though.
yourselves or I'll drop you. Like I said, we're getting ready to end it, so let's just end it without any more political talk, and that is political talk, and you know it. So
I
anyway,
have
like
no
I said,
political talk. There's no political side of gun control as far as I'm concerned.
There
If,
is.
if it were allowed, it'd be different, but it's not.
But
It's
like I said, let's just drop it. We're going to end this one. Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you, Larry.
It was a lively debate. I'll give you that. And,
I'll run out and put the light out in a minute. It's gonna be
All right.
like I can see Larry now. He's going to step into his bathroom and wipe the sweat off his forehead. Oh my God!
like I said, I mean, I don't mind a discussion, but let's don't get too political. That's not what we're here for.
Hey, we didn't beat each other up.
Huh?
Hey, at least we
I'm
respected
balling,
each
buddy.
other. We had more
Yeah.
respect for each other than most people on the street on
Yeah.
opposite sides of the law.
Me and Big Mac disagree about a lot of things, but we like each other. What can I say?
Well, like I always tell you guys, I got more common with you than not.
Yeah.
Larry, I put a link to my channel back over in the private chat.
Yeah, that's
If
fine.
you wanna
That's fine.
check it out,
Yeah,
whatever.
so, like I
Um,
said, that's fine. That's why I gave you the ability to do that. And
my son's going to be doing a show tonight.
well, I'll probably go. One of my people that supports me a lot will probably be starting her live stream pretty soon, so I'll be going to hers.
Okay.
She usually starts around 9:30 on Saturday night. She waits till I've been on for a while.
Yeah.
And, so, like I said, most of my followers, guys, are in the Philippines. All right, just to let you know that.
Wow.
So that's why I really don't like the political talk. Okay.
It's morning over there now, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's Sunday
Yep.
morning,
Yes, Sunday morning early.
and
Don't
my
forget to set
plan
your
is when I
clocks back.
retire. When I retire, that's where I'm going. I'm getting away from all of this.
Hey, don't forget to set your clocks back, y'all.
Yeah.
Who has to do that? It's done electrically.
Well, no,
But
my
isn't that
alarm
dumb?
clocks I
Wouldn't that
have
be
to
like
do.
cutting a
Everything else
rug?
does the. I have a
Isn't
couple
that like
things I
cutting
have
a rug
to
in
do.
half, Larry? Larry, ain't that like cutting a rug in half and sewing the top onto the bottom and thinking you got a longer rug now?
Yeah, I think so.
Don't make no sense to me. I don't. I
I
never.
no,
understood.
I can't. I hope to God one of these days they will decide on one or the other. I don't care which time frame. Ginny and Forrest Gump is a perfect representation of a millennial woman now. She basically an out of control, dumb, a radical communist, and she has been with a lot of guys. All right, Bruce.
Yeah.
But,
Jenny wasn't. Jenny was bad news, man. Jenny was
Yeah.
bad news.
Well, back in the 60s, there was a lot of them that way.
Oh, sure.
That was free love, man. That was the time of free love.
Look where it brought us.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I'm not arguing there. But like I said, anyway, guys, thanks for coming up.
Good night.
Right on, man.
And I'm going to go
See you,
ahead and
Big
end
Mac.
this one. Take care of yourself.
Have a good
Stay
evening.
safe, stay healthy, plus try to have fun. Bye, all.
Right on.
Yeah.
Night, y'all.